Good song. Good song. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Hoo. It must be Tuesday or whatever day of the week it is. And thank you all for joining us. This is Q&A presented by Sportskeeda and shown exclusively here on Sportskeeda's Wrestle Binge YouTube channel. And while you're at it, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you have not done so already, join the over 92,000 other subscribers and subscribe to this channel. That way you can stay up to date on all the latest breaking news.
Wait. I want to hit that like button. So now it's 92,001.
That's subscribers too. That's subscribers.
I'm in.
So, that way you stay up to date on all the latest and breaking news in the world of pro wrestling, plus lots of great programming such as this show. So again, thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Joe Lowry. And as always, we're joined by two wrestling insiders who are here to answer your questions. First up, he's a Hall of Fame wrestling journalist, and he is also the senior editor of Sportskeeda Wrestling. Let's welcome to the show, Mr. Bill Apter. Welcome, Bill.
Well, thank you. And you know, I'm turning a big number in October. So my new character, I'm leaving Wonderful Willie behind, and now I'm stone old Bill Apter, and I was print bait before there was clickbait.
There you go.
That's my story.
And also on deck with us tonight is the man who gets the news before it breaks. He never shows his face. Let's welcome to the show, Joey from WrestleVotes Radio. Joe, welcome, brother.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Bill. A stone old Bill Apter. I love that. So happy to be back with you guys.
By the way, I have a whole bunch of masks back here that I can lend to you if you want to,
You never know, Bill. You never know at this point.
Well, as they used to tell me in broadcasting school, he's got a face for radio.
Maybe that's the reason.
I remember that.
Oh boy. So real quick recap, Raw last night, thumbs up, thumbs down. What'd you think? Did anybody miss Liv Morgan? I know I did.
You and I both Liv Morgan fans. I will tell you what bothered me on Raw last night.
Go ahead.
Really bothered me.
What bothered you?
They brought out Rusev. Right. Now, in the old days, so to say, if you bring somebody back that looks like a monster, not the one among men, but looks like a monster, he's got to pretty much kill the opponent. Last night, his match against Otis, Rusev got killed 80% of that match. Otis threw him over the broadcasting table. He was getting killed. So he didn't become the Rusev that I wanted to see until after the match where he attacked Tozawa and Otis. And I was very upset that he just didn't go out there and, destroy somebody. It didn't have the impact I wanted to.
Joe, did you think Maxine Dupree's tears were real last night?
I'm not going to speak on that there, Joe, but I agree with Bill. He feels a lot more like Miro than he does Rusev so far. So,
why?
Let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the angle they're going at. It's funny when these guys show up after being, away for a few years. Well, Miro's been gone for a while, and they come back, and it's like they have these matches real quick, and then there's nothing afterwards.
You're right.
Like he'll take time off, or something's going to happen, so I don't know what angle, I don't know what storyline they're going to be building for him. Obviously, he's like
this is what
Alpha Academy or anything.
This is what they did with Penta and Rey Fenix. They're having them killed in the matches and putting them over. What great stars they are, and they are. But Rusev, I was waiting for the fans to go crazy. I was waiting for him to just destroy Otis. Dude, pick him up. Hold him over your head. Drop him.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because he's a power wrestler, right?
I agree. I totally agree. One thing I did like was I was impressed, believe it or not, Pat McAfee and Gunther's in-ring promo. I thought it was a great story. I mean, obviously it's a last-minute storyline, but there's some feeling going into this Backlash this weekend for McAfee and Gunther. Which Gunther's going to show up? Which McAfee's going to show up? Joe, what did you think of that segment?
Thought it was great. Thought 2 weeks in a row now, McAfee's been pretty good on the microphone selling this match with short notice. I'm looking forward to it. I know some people are still iffy on it, but I think it's going to be really fun once the bell rings between McAfee and Gunther Saturday night. So, good job by Pat last night.
There you go. Bill, what'd you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that Gunther is going to take a loss because of some sort of swerve or something, maybe by Michael Cole or somebody that will distract him. That will distract him. But it'll be, and I hate to use the word entertaining, it'll be an entertaining match. It really will be. And yeah, I mean, Pat McAfee is just a natural at this.
Yeah,
he's really is. He's totally natural.
I know. It's amazing how he's come into his own after football. It's like, wow. It's not like he was one and done in football. He played for a few years. So
yeah, but remember, there are people like me that didn't follow football at all. I had no clue who Pat McAfee was until he was on WWE.
Oh, there you go. All right. So Bill is expanding his horizons as we speak tonight. And speaking of horizons, I got to tell you, I'm looking over these questions today. Thank you, everybody who's sending in these questions. I just love how before they get to the question or when they get to the question, they put all these little antidotes in there. And I like to read them because it gives you, the philosophy of where this viewer is coming from. So we're going to kick it off with Angel. He chimed in here. He goes, do you guys feel that Randy, I'm assuming Randy Orton, is a bigger draw now more than ever before in his career? Asking, since looking at all the metrics on social media, his numbers are huge. His quarter hours, this guy's doing some homework. His quarter hours do extremely well. Always trending on Twitter. Always one of the top merch sellers on WWEshop.com. Also, now the WWE is using him like an attraction, which does help. Which means he's not on every show. Joe, I'll kick it off with you. Do you think Randy's a bigger draw now than he has been throughout his whole career?
It's a great question, and I don't think it's maybe fairly worded. I don't think he's a bigger draw. I do think people are more excited to see him now. So if that goes hand in hand, that's fine. But I do like how they're presenting him as this living legend, maybe playing off of the legend killer gimmick 20 years ago, that they're realizing that Randy's, in my opinion, borderline top 10 wrestler of all time.
Sure.
So I like how they're presenting him that way as he's getting closer to the end. So, yeah, I love it.
Excellent. Bill, what do you think? Randy bigger draw now than before?
Well, it's not a draw, actually, because they're not counting people in seats that are coming there just to watch him. And WrestleVotes, Joe, no disrespect, but Bruno is the living legend. Come on. You know that. But in answer to your question, this is a new, invigorated Randy Orton. It's a different Randy Orton that we've seen before. He's exciting to watch. He's unpredictable to watch. So I'm going to say the current Randy Orton, again, is a new type of Randy Orton, and he's still at that same top level he always has been in WWE.
Yeah, he's doing great. Ever since the back surgery, I mean, like he said, he thought he was never going to wrestle again. So he's got a second lease on life, so to speak. But, kudos to that. Angel, thank you so much for that question. Apter versus Cena Senior. I love this guy's username. Apter versus Cena Senior. Right. He's inquiring what is the latest on Mariah May, because he's seeing all this discourse on Twitter. It's gotta stop, he says. All this online rumors in the internet wrestling community. Bill, what do you think? Mariah May, what's the latest on her? Do we know?
She may not.
Right now.
Really, but the WWE will be an overload on blondes. I'm hearing like, why not Alexa Bliss? Why Mariah May? There's a lot going on. I think they could make room for Mariah May. She's very sweet. She's an excellent worker in the ring, and I could see her with her attitude in a feud with Tiffy Time very easily.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Mariah May? Any news on your end?
Nothing more than what we reported 2 weeks ago on WrestleVotes Radio, that WWE will be extremely active when she's available. They're going to throw everything at her that they can in hopes that they can land her. That's what we reported, and that's the latest that we've had. So we'll see once the negotiations really kick in.
I hope they don't do the Rusev with her and bring her out and have somebody kill her for 90% of the match.
No, not that. Marcel's chiming in here. When will Germany get its next PLE or TV show? Here's our foreign question of the evening. Germany, are they heading back there this year, Joe, or is that next year?
Marcel, every week I tell you the same thing. I hope to one of these weeks have a better answer for you, but I haven't seen Germany come across anytime soon. So let's see what happens next week, Marcel.
Bill, you going to go to Germany if they have a
Marcel,
PLE?
bring me back to Germany. I was in Germany 3 or 4 times for German Stampede Wrestling. I loved being in Germany. I loved the fans there. Everything was great. So you work this out. Get me over to Germany. I'll be in England in February. We could do it that same week.
Yeah, Bill, you're going to England in February. That is correct.
Yes, for the love of wrestling. I'm booked there to help host the Q&As and do my one-man show. I was to England on wrestling assignments about 6 times when Alex Shane ran company FMW there, and I can't wait to go back there and see my mates again.
There you go. He's talking like them again. Okay. Michael's coming in here. Michael is asking, will NXT Heatwave become part of SummerSlam weekend? Joe, is that the same time frame? Did they do Heatwave in August? Why did they think it was in July?
Yeah, I believe last year it was tied into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view up in Toronto. This year, the Triple H show is tied into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So it would make sense to move Heatwave into the SummerSlam weekend. Don't know if it'll happen, but it's a great idea. So we'll see.
Okay. Bill, what do you think?
I don't know. I acquiesce to Joe on that.
A penny for your thoughts, Bill, please.
Thank you. I want to raise.
All right, there you go. There you go. Our good friend Assam Bahar is chiming in here. He wants to know whatever happened to Tamina Snuka. Bill, what happened to Tamina? Did she get
I don't know. I don't know. They haven't had anything for her to do. I'm surprised that she's hasn't been heard of in quite some time, but it's a good question, and I will get my spies out, and I knew her really well. I'll find out later this week what happened to her. So ask that question again next week, please.
All right, we'll highlight
and
that.
You know what else?
What's that?
It's in the TV Wonderland. My daughter's going to do good. All right, brother.
Brother.
Beautiful thing.
Joe, anybody on your end hearing any rumblings about this?
No, I haven't heard her name spoken about in a very long time. So we'll see what Bill can dig up, but no, nothing I've heard.
I want to say she was released last year, but I could be wrong. I know she was injured for a while, but I mean, yeah, she hasn't even been in any backstage segments or anything.
I'd love to see her back again. The women's division could use another heavyweight like her.
Yeah,
I'm telling you that physically.
Yeah, there you go. Todd J, aka the Jake Man, always pleasure to hear from him. He's asking, he's really enraged right now. Why are we not getting anything new from any new merchandise from the Intercontinental Champion Dirty Dom? No celebration. What's going on with that? Joe, what's going on with Dirty Dom and no new merch and no Raw celebration? What's the deal there?
Well, as far as the Raw celebration goes, he had a match instead of a celebration the night after WrestleMania. And I don't know the merchandise aspect of it. He's got merchandise. Maybe I don't know, Joe. I don't want to throw anything out there. So I don't know why he doesn't have Intercontinental Championship merchandise.
Bill, why not no merch for Dirty Dom?
I think Dirty Dutch is trying to sue him for using the word dirty.
Looks like things are going to get dirty.
Held up in court.
There you go. Todd's got another question. He wants to know, last night's Raw was pretty good. Gunther versus McAfee was a great spot. We just talked about that. He's hearing that Goldberg may get involved in this match. Any confirmation to that? Bill, have you heard anything?
I have heard nothing.
That's an odd one, huh?
I have heard. Hold on a minute. Why don't we just ask the man himself?
Oh boy.
He's next.
Goldberg.
I don't know. That's the first I've heard of that. I wouldn't think so.
That's a weird spot. Yeah, like that. Why would he come in on that? Yeah.
No, Goldberg's kind of under the radar right now.
Right. But I mean, to come back at Backlash, I don't know. Joe, have you heard anything on Goldberg coming back then?
I haven't heard anything, but if you want to try to tie the pieces together to this, I guess it kind of makes sense. He started the whole thing at Bad Blood with Gunther.
Right.
They haven't done anything since. McAfee's got the football background. Goldberg's got the football background. The Saudi Arabia pay-per-view is coming up. So if they want Goldberg and Gunther to take place on this Saudi Arabia PLE, that happens in June. You might as well start it here in May. But again, I haven't heard if he'll be there on Saturday.
It makes sense, though. That's very good thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Michael's got another question here. Gentlemen, good evening. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. A couple of questions for you this week. I love how they sneak in a couple of questions after the obligatory hellos and all that. If the idea is Seth Rollins to be a heel, shouldn't they give him new theme music and not encourage the fans to sing along? Interesting. Bill, what do you think of that? Do you think?
No, they don't have to unless they give him new theme music and the fans keep going, oh, and he keeps saying, shut up, that's not my music anymore. Will make him even more hated. So it'd be a good idea.
There you go. Joe, what do you think? I mean, I loved it last night when Paul Heyman was getting the crowd to sing. That was kind of neat.
Yeah, I think it's different that the crowd is interacting in that way with a heel. I don't mind it at all. So I hope his music stays.
Yeah. They were so conflicted whether to boo him in his match last night against Jey Uso or to cheer for him. They were very conflicted.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think the WWE saw something on that last night. So we'll see. We'll see what comes of it.
By the way, who was angrier last night, Paul Heyman or Becky Lynch on the anger meter?
Joe, you go ahead with that one.
I'm going to say Paul Heyman. I mean, what he did at the start of the show was incredible. The way he described why he did what he did to Roman Reigns. I thought his intensity was through the roof, and he looked like an orange to begin with. So he just got redder and redder, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean, Becky was very PO'd as well. It was too many people too angry last night.
I did appreciate that Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria came out of her shell. She had some good one-liners there and all that stuff, especially about defending her title more times than Becky has shown up for work, which was a kind of a neat dig.
Yeah.
But hands down, Paul Heyman, that was probably one of his best promos because that could have went south really quick. When you get that vent up, you could start spewing things that you weren't supposed to do, and he held his cool, so to speak, but he hit a home run.
Total professional.
Yeah,
total professional.
If that's the Paul Heyman we're going to get now, because have you seen we're getting a more vocal Paul Heyman as opposed to when he was with Roman Reigns and all that? You're getting a more. He's more out front. I thought the first half hour was all Paul Heyman.
Roman didn't let him talk. It was Roman talking all the time. Paul Heyman just gave him the mic.
Yeah, it's crazy.
By the way, while we're talking about Becky Lynch, I'm sure the two of you know about this.
Whoa.
Where she spewed some really dirty hatred at Hulk Hogan.
I saw.
Oh, because wasn't it because they were chanting Becky Hogan or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
No, some fan put a picture of Becky with a Hogan smata on, and she didn't. She said, "How dare you compare me with that scum of the earth?" or something like that. And wow, why do that on social media?
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff taking place. Social media has been it's always been out of control, but I want to say the last few months it's been really out of control. Like it's just, I don't know.
Really bad.
It's if it wasn't toxic before, it's definitely toxic now. But
Joe, WrestleVotes, Joe, what do you think is behind that whole Becky Lynch thing?
Unfortunately, Bill, it's not just Becky. You know, a lot of people have disdain for Hulk Hogan.
Oh, I know that.
From this era of wrestling, and it's unfortunate, but everybody's entitled to their opinion. And
so here's something I want to ask you, since you are such a great insider. Hogan and Eric Bischoff talking about this new thing.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be bigger than WWE, which is never going to happen. Number one. Number two, he's under a Legends contract with WWE. So how is he getting away with starting a company with Eric Bischoff that wants to compete with WWE? Or is this just something that WWE will make part of WWE?
This is going to be an opinion answer for you, Bill, but I believe that since it's focused on the freestyle form of wrestling, they're going to give the Hulk the opportunity to make it successful, him and Bischoff. And if that becomes an entity, WWE can probably scoop it up and make it work. But I don't think it's any harm in trying. Hulk's allowed to do independent projects. You look at his beer and some of the commercials he may be in. He can do whatever he wants. So
where are they
just one of those projects
this?
he's trying.
WWE is in a zillion homes.
This is really classic Bischoff Hogan hype. This
right.
is like hype, the hype bandwagon. When they put these videos out last week, of course I got everybody talking. They look like the NWO was coming back for God's sakes. But they are masters of the hype game, and this thing, it could be big, or it could be just a blip at a hotel down the street, and 100 people show up, and that's about it. And Hogan bought a bar right outside Madison.
Yeah,
Square.
They're
right across the street.
It's going to be Hulk Hogan's Scores Bar.
Yeah, Scores
right
bar.
Across from the Garden.
Yep. So I mean, that might tie into it. You might get people going into the restaurant to the bar to watch this. I can only imagine. I mean, there's no way that a freestyle event's going to take over Madison Square Garden. I can tell you that right now.
No.
I just think this is all going to tie in. They're masters of the hype game. They're doing a great job hyping it up. Yep. We'll see, though. We shall see.
By the way, it was embarrassing, Joe Lowry. It was embarrassing to me,
to you,
to see Hogan and Bischoff in the black and white thing with making like the NWO. It just didn't come across well at all. It was a bad imitation of what was an incredible time in the business.
Right. Yep, I agree. And by the way, Joe, Michael had another question too. I know we got off topic here.
Yeah.
He wants to know: do you see Jordynne Grace defeating Stephanie McCurr at Battleground? And if so, will Stephanie get called up to the main roster? Have a great week. Best regards, Michael. Joe, I'll let you take that one. Jordynne Grace, you think she'll beat Stephanie this weekend? Is it this weekend?
No, it's the Sunday following Saturday night's main event. So we're talking May 25th. I don't know if she wins, but I do think Stephanie finds herself on the main roster sooner rather than later. So, you can put Jordynne Grace over for sure.
Okay. Bill, you agree with that?
No, I think Stephanie's going to retain the title.
Ooh.
Just my opinion. Just my opinion.
All right, there we go. Conflicting. Wow, we got tension on the show tonight, folks. All right, Balor Club guys podcast. Good to hear from you, brother. What's up, guys? With Cena's final match taking place this December, I feel it should take place in Boston. Do you think that'll happen at the rumored Saturday night's main event on December 13th? Or will they do an event December 27th, maybe a Cena-themed PLE? That is the time of year that they do hit the New York, Boston circuit. Joe, do you know anything about this?
Don't know for sure, but I would imagine that if the Saturday night's main event on December 13th comes to be, and it's being held in Boston, Massachusetts, then that will be John Cena's last match. I can't picture something better, just to prolong it 2 weeks and have it go to the absolute end of December, and then you have the holidays in there and stuff like that. I say if they have it lined up for it to be December 13th on a Saturday night on NBC in his hometown, you absolutely do that, and that's what I'm expecting.
What do you think, Bill? Boston, Beantown, farewell for Cena?
Would be a great idea, and to get more heat on him if he's still a heel then.
Right.
John Cena, very rotten Christmas.
I'm very sentimental when it comes to that. I took my son to his first Raw, and that night, Ruthless Aggression was born when he slapped Vince McMahon.
Wow.
That was at the old Fleet Center, which is now the TD Boston Garden. But I took him there, and John Cena, Vince was hyping him up, and then John Cena just walled off and whacked him. He goes, "That's called Ruthless Aggression. I'll never forget it." That would be fitting. It would absolutely be fitting if John Cena could end it on Saturday night's main event in Boston. That'd be great. All right, Balor Club, thanks for your question there. Okay, and Nassam Bahar's chiming in again. He goes, there are rumors on the internet that Alberto Del Rio has signed with the WWE. Can you confirm? I know the answer to this, but Bill, why don't you take this?
I can't confirm it. I mean, now that AAA is involved, who knows down the road? I've heard that rumor for years that Alberto Del Rio is coming back, but I have no definite answer about that.
Joe, what about you? What do you got?
Also can't confirm that he signed a new deal. He was part of AAA. AAA is now under the WWE umbrella. So if you want to get technical, that would place him under the WWE umbrella. But I don't know if a new deal has been signed over the last week or so. So,
by the way, have you guys seen that whole rant by Tony Schiavone that he thinks WWE has gotten AAA because AEW is going into Mexico around that same time?
I haven't seen it. I heard it. I have not seen it though.
Yeah, it was quite a Joe WrestleVotes. Have you seen that?
I have not. I have not.
Yeah. He thinks that they just happened. It's amazing that they just happen to be running their big shows just when AEW is in Mexico.
Yep.
Maybe.
Personally, I think maybe, but just to let you know, our very own Dr. Chris Featherstone did have the latest on the Alberto Del Rio contract situation. There has been no new contract with the WWE given to Alberto Del Rio. However, current talent have AAA contracts, and per Mexico law, that is still legally binding under a new ownership, such as WWE. He's going on to say that contracts will be modified if AAA talent go to brands on WWE like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, but nothing, not a combined show like Worlds Collide will make it a WWE type thing individually for Alberto Del Rio. So whatever's out there, he did some homework. He came out with that yesterday. So right now he's still under AAA. You know, who knows after this whole merger, whatever goes through. But he is the champion, correct? Isn't he the AAA champion?
I believe so.
He's their big
I'm
guy.
not sure if he still has that. I do know, and no one's talking about. I do know, and no one's talking about this. That one of the people that has been there forever and backstage and keeps the wheels running there is Conan.
Oh yeah,
and he's going to be involved still in helping to run AAA, from what I understand.
Yep, that is true. He will be doing that as well. So that was the latest. He's not under contract. Alberto Del Rio not under contract with WWE, still under AAA. But per Mexico laws, when a company takes over, you know, they're still technically under contract until they do whatever they have to do legal wise. So, all right, good stuff there. All right, Matt Ham, our good friend Matthew Ham chiming in here. He wants to know, do you see WWE acquiring any Japanese promotions like Noah or NJPW? I think we had this last week. Anybody, Bill, I'll start with you. Do you think WWE is going to
anything's possible. If anything's possible at this point. If WWE TKO wants to keep buying up pieces of wrestling left over in the world, they're going to do it. If they think, it's amazing because Vince Jr., his dream was to take wrestling over all the territories, make everything under that WWE umbrella. And it's happening now, even though he's not there.
Right. Yeah. Joe, you agree with that?
No, I completely agree. Bill said it best. Anything is possible, especially today. So we may wake up tomorrow and they've acquired everything. So who knows?
However, Cal Championship Office Wrestling is not for sale.
But as the $1 Million Man says, everybody's got a price.
No,
that's right.
No, Wonderful Willie's still champ here. Nope,
there you go.
Not going anywhere.
I miss that belt. I used to play with that belt at all the shows. That's awesome. He wants to know, speaking of titles, Matt Ham wants to know.
Joe, let me just interrupt you. That belt was made for me from Reggie Parks. It's a real belt.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I got pictures with you with that belt. I've
held that's right. That's right.
Come on, man. Jeez.
That's right.
Matt Ham wants to know, when is Jay dropping the title? And then he follows it up with another question. When is Jay Logan Paul happening? Joe, pick one. Is Jay dropping the title? And if he does, is it Logan Paul?
Don't believe so, but I could see that match happening at the May 24th Saturday night's main event. So we'll see. But I think that's where they're going.
All right.
It's terrible. As soon as the guy wins a title, when's he going to lose the title?
I don't know. I mean, people are funny like that, as soon as, because it was all that hype climbing that mountain. And now it's like, okay, now what? And Paul Heyman had a good line last night. He said something along the lines like, Jay does the yeeting, but Seth needs the title. And it's kind of like, wow, that kind of hit to me like
Very
that.
Profound.
Because you got to carry the company, and, you can go out there and do your yeet. But what's the difference? Everybody else sings to Seth Rollins.
You're right.
So, what's the difference? But all right, Matt, thank you for that. Todd's chiming back in here. He wants to know, who do you guys think would fit in with the Seth Heyman Breaker faction? Now they're looking at Drew McIntyre or possibly Mark Miro. Is that what he said? Mark Miro?
No, can't be.
Mark Miro?
No.
Mark Miro is Mark's a good guy. motivational speaker now.
Right.
Do you see Drew McIntyre? Did we talk about this last week? I think too. Drew McIntyre, Bill. Do you think he's going to get involved with this?
I don't, but I think he'd be a good fit in there.
Yeah, Joe. What do you think?
I agree. Mark Miro threw me for a loop there. That was something.
Yeah. These questions my producer hands these things to me. They don't proof them, so I'm reading them verbatim, folks.
Mark Miro
Miro.
He could be the inspirational speaker of the group. We are going to win today, and this is how we are going to do it.
That would be awesome.
Sorry.
I guess so.
I'd rather see Johnny B. Bad come back.
Me too.
I could have filled in the other line, said Mark Henry. That would have been even better. World's strongest man.
Mark Miro. Wow.
All right, Todd's got another question in here. Here we go with the cut questions. He knew these were coming. Why did the WWE cut Braun Strowman? And do you see Strowman or Dakota Kai going to the AEW? That's always a given. I feel they would both do great there, especially Strowman. I just don't see how Strowman gets cut, but Tozawa and Otis are still in with the WWE. Was it that Strowman's contract was up? Joe, I'll go to you first. Strowman, he looked like he was the happiest guy in the world jumping off his boat all week long when he got released. So you tell me, what's the deal there?
I'll tell you, when he was on stage at the roast of WrestleMania, he was as happy as could be. So I think he's in a good place. Right. As far as why he got released, I'll relate it to sports terms as best I could. Sometimes you see these star players get released out of nowhere, and it's mainly because of their contract. So I'd imagine Braun Strowman had a large contract, and if they're making cuts, it's obviously financial backing that they're trying to save some money. So he just happened to be the guy that made the most that they said that they can get rid of, unfortunately. So as far as him going to AEW, I don't see that. But if he wants to, I'm sure he'd be successful over there.
What do you think, Bill?
I think that this time around and the time Strowman was in before this time, they never envisioned him as a full-time, long storyline player. He was kind of like, I don't want to use the word filler, but just, a good hand to have around to get the excitement going, maybe to put some guys over, which he did, but nothing that they were planning on for a long period of time. And I don't know if he actually wanted to be part of this for long periods of time. I heard that it was not an angry break, and if they call him, 6 months or a year down the road, we need you for 3 or 4 months, he'd be willing to do it again.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, I know Strowman had a large contract. He had an interview the other day. He listed every single injury that he had while he wrestled. And that man is broken surgically, head to toe. There's no reason to wrestle anymore when you've been through the ringer like that. So,
hopefully he saved his money.
Yeah. Hopefully it looks like he has. Yep, it does. He's been those Instagram posts, man, I'm telling you, him jumping off his boat and doing all this stuff. And, and everyone else is like,
I don't want to see him go to AEW because I don't think he'll be used properly in AEW. They're going to go, that guy was just let go from WWE. It's just second. He'd be second hand type of wrestler there, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. All right, good question, Todd. Thank you. Too Sweet Tea. There you go. Too Sweet Tea. Nice. That's the username. Any idea of potential matches for Worlds Collide?
Wow.
Joe, do we have anything on that yet? Is this too early or what?
Yeah, nothing I've heard. You're going to have to get through this NXT PLE on the 25th first.
Right. Okay.
I'd imagine there's some clues there during that show, but no matches that I can report on yet.
Bill, what are your spies?
No matches that I know of. However, one thing we didn't bring up, I did mention about Conan being there, is Rey Mysterio Jr. is going to be a large part of the workings of that company, of that brand.
Oh yeah,
AAA.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So I'm sure they get a business plan in place. So looks like Sean Garner looks like a new guy chiming in here. Thanks you, Sean, for chiming in here. He wants to know who are the early picks for Money in the Bank winners. Oh boy.
Ooh.
Money in the Bank. I would assume
Rusev.
I'm assuming he means male and female Money in the Bank. I don't know. Bill, why don't you try it?
Rusev.
Rusev for male. What about female?
That's
a tough one.
Good question. Come back to me on that one.
Okay. Joe, you're on the clock.
Good question. For the female, again, these are predictions. I would say Chelsea Green has a good shot.
Really?
And on the male side, they could give it to Drew again and have him have a legitimate run, not the same night cash-in. That would make some sense. A guy like Penta, potentially. I don't know. I would say Dirty Dom.
What do you think about Rusev?
Intercontinental.
What do you think about Rusev, Joe?
If he's presented as Rusev, I'm fine with that. If he's this Bulgarian brute that everybody wants to see, sure. If it's the Rusev we saw last night, I'd say probably not.
No.
You know who would benefit from Money in the Bank briefcase would be Logan Paul.
Yes,
I think Logan Paul would be great with Money in the briefcase. He'd showcase that thing everywhere he goes, like he did with his U.S. Championship. I think
You're absolutely right.
I think that'd be his stepping stone to the world title, which we all know sooner or later he'll probably get it at some point down the line. But what better way to start that trip is just by winning Money in the Bank. I told you so, all this stuff, and he doesn't cash in until obviously Mania or next year or whatever.
I have nothing against him at all, but I think he's lost, and I've mentioned this, I think he's lost some of the shine that was around him for a long period of time. I can't see him as world champion.
Yeah, I do like the Chelsea Green one, Joe. She took the biggest bump last year off that ladder, obviously, with Tiffany Stratton. I'd like to see the opposite happen. Maybe Tiffy takes the big bump this year.
Yeah.
She grabs that briefcase. So that'd be interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, it could be Showtime, since Liv Morgan, our girl, is out right now doing a movie.
Yeah.
To get her back to full speed.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan is a single, getting that Money in the Bank briefcase. Why not?
You know what's funny? All during the holidays from November to January, Liv Morgan defended her world title against Iyo Skys at every single house show, even Saturday night's main event. Yeah. And now the opposites happen. Io's got the title back. Obviously, Liv's a tag team champion, but she's away. I see world title in her picture again. I think they could have a decent run again because they've already been through the circuit. So it might be something to see later on down the line. But
Mariah May.
Mariah May, yeah. You never know. Yeah. See, the hits just keep on coming. You just don't know. But Sean Garner, thank you for that one. That was a good question. All right, Bob Ross Jr. is chiming in here. I don't know if anybody's asked this, but what does Iyo Skys contract status look like? I would not know that. Bill, do you know what Iyo Skys?
Oh, yeah, of course I know what it looks like. It's got how much money she'll make. It's on paper. I feel like we're at Airplane. No, I don't know any specifics about her contract.
What about Joe? You have any specifics on the contract?
I haven't heard, which is usually a good thing. Means they're here for a while. So, I don't know.
I'm starting to catch on with her, by the way. First few times I saw her, great worker, but her personality is really she's becoming more comfortable. You can tell that her personality is really out there. The fans are feeling it.
Oh, she got the house rocking last night. Omaha crowd was pretty hot last night.
Yeah,
and when she did the crazy head thing, oh man, they loved it. And Triple H is looking at that going, okay, she's getting over now. So that's probably a big reason why she actually retained against Bianca and Rhea Ripley. So I have a question for both of you guys. Now that they just announced that the Crown Jewel is in Perth, Australia this year, what happens to Liv Morgan and Cody Rhodes championships that they won over in Saudi Arabia? Do they take them away from there and bring it to Australia?
Great question.
You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. Joe, you remember that Liv and Cody became inaugural Crown Jewel champions. Now Crown Jewel is not in Saudi this year. It's in Perth, Australia. Where do we go? What happens? Do we know anything on this?
I think, Joe, they could very easily just do the same thing. Just because it's not in Saudi Arabia doesn't mean they can't have that tournament again or, present the Crown Jewel champions. I think it would elevate the belts a little bit too, that it's going to a different city in the world and they're still making this a big deal. It might make that title a little more prestigious. So I could see them doing it again. Yeah.
Yeah. Phil, what do you think about that? What do you think?
I agree. I think, doing it anywhere in the world, pretty much, it's it's like a championship. It's why not?
No, I agree. That was the big thing because Rhea Ripley and Grayson Waller have been on the Australian tour this week. That's why they weren't at Raw. And I'm sitting there going, okay, Crown Jewel, that was in Saudi last year. This year it's in Perth. I mean, are they going to ship the titles from Saudi down to Perth? I mean, I just don't know. There's been no, explanation as to what the deal is with this whole thing. From what our assumption was when Liv Morgan and Cody Rhodes won it last year, they would go back to Saudi and defend it again. But I don't know if they're going to treat this like an Owen Hart Invitational, like AEW does, as somebody new every year. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but it'd be interesting.
That would make sense. That
was my big question of the night because I was a little concerned that I don't mind Perth, Australia getting a pay-per-view. It just makes for an early morning for me, but the time zone difference is going to be crazy. I do believe there's a SmackDown or a Raw happening, right?
Yes.
Joe, Bill? Yeah.
Both.
So God knows what time those are going to be on around here. But, it got me questioning like, okay, they just won these things over in Saudi. What happens now? So nonetheless, we shall find out. All right. Good stuff. It looks like we wrapped it up pretty good, folks. So I want to thank everybody for sending in their questions. You guys have any questions?
If an airplane leaves Philadelphia, no.
All right, good stuff. All right, we'll wrap it up. The producer's saying wrap it up. All right. I want to thank everybody for all our viewers who sent in questions for tonight's show. We do this every week, so if you have a question, just drop it in the comments on all Sportskeeda's Wrestling social media pages, and they will grab them from there. Trust me, they do that. I also want to thank everyone who has tuned into the show just to watch us, and don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Over 92,000 subscribers have already done so. What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Get the latest and breaking
news.
Yeah, do it now. Get the latest and breaking news in the world of professional wrestling. Join this channel today. Folks, we are out of here. Until next week, I'm Joe Lowry. Bill Joe, take us home.
Well, I usually say the same thing, but today I'm going to say this is stone old Bill Apter. I was print bait before there was clickbait, and that's my story, and I'll see you
at the matches.
There you go. There we did it. We finally get it. Have a good one, everybody.